Mark Rogers TV rating every schedule in college football and ranking them 67 all the way up to number 1. Penn State in a very unique situation. Consider this. Unlike any other school in the country, any other team in the country, they divide a division. So the Big Ten East is very divided. You've got 3 bottom feeders in Maryland, Rutgers, and Indiana. You've got 3 elite programs, 3 of the top 10 in college football. Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State. Penn State, last 2 seasons under James Franklin, 7-6. They beat the bad teams. They have very competitive games against the likes of Northwestern on the road, lost by a field goal at the gun last year. They lose to the top teams. Penn State, until they break through, right now are looking at another 5-loss season, most likely, or as they lost last year in the regular season, plus the bowl game, 6 games. All right, for Penn State, very important who you play in the Western Division because they've got to deal with the 3 heavyweights. Do they have any more difficult games to deal with in the West? Not really. Well, they've got Iowa. So they've got a date against Iowa. It's later in the season, November 5th, at home against the Hawkeyes. Otherwise, it's Minnesota, it's Purdue. Very manageable there for Penn State. Non-conference. They don't play anyone ridiculously good. No Alabamas, USC's, Oklahomas. But they've got 2, so credit Penn State here, although they probably didn't know at the time when they were scheduling Temple that it was going to be a different Temple-type program. But they've got 2 strong teams. They're playing top 40-type teams in Pitt on the road at Heinz Field. Interesting date. Looking forward to that game, September 10th at Pitt. And then the next week, they've got a game against Temple. Of course, they lost to the Owls last season. Christian Hackenberg sacked 10 times. Those 2 games come after a Kent State opener. So, got to beat Kent State, obviously. Then you've got Pitt and Temple, one of those games on the road, although Penn State probably is going to own the ticket sales in that one. Because right after Pitt and Temple, it's a date against Michigan. So difficult threesome there to start the season after the Kent State game, Pitt, Temple, Michigan. That's the toughest stretch for the Nittany Lions. It lightens up after that. Ohio State spread out, Iowa spread out, Michigan State closes the season as the annual Big Ten rivalry game. Penn State, you got the 5th most difficult schedule in the Big Ten, number 25 in college football, highlighted by out-of-conference games against Temple and at Heinz Field against Pitt. You've got to deal with Iowa in the Western Division. Need to hear from you and your thoughts on the schedule analysis, the ratings, the rankings right here on Mark Rogers TV.